And violence is never, ever, ever acceptable. And if you believe that the people doing the rioting in Los Angeles have a right to do that, I'll say there's something wrong with you. Oh, hi, this is Mike Howard of the Ronin Leadership Podcast. This is going to be a different kind of video. I'm going to be doing more of these things that I think are topical, just because I got a lot of things on my mind, and there's a lot of things going on in the world that I want to start opining about, at least giving you an idea of my feelings. Right now, one of the things I want to talk about are the riots in LA. First of all, it's terrible whenever anybody attacks law enforcement. I don't really care if you like Donald Trump's policies on immigration, whether you agree with it or not. That's a totally different topic as far as I'm concerned. But for me, I don't think it's never acceptable to attack law enforcement. I don't care how mad you are about immigration policy. Again, whether you're pro-Trump or against him, you have no right to attack police officers. You have no right to throw stones and bricks and try to throw or pepper spray or whatever else they're using out there. You have no right to do that. There are ways to protest peacefully against policies that you disagree with. Violence is never the right thing. Plus the people out there, the rioters, who are cowards because a lot of them are masked up. I mean, if you really cared about your convictions, why are the masks on? Take them off. Show people who you are if you're really that convicted, you know. But most of them are cowards because they want to hide behind the masks, throw the bricks at the cops, run and block things, but they don't want their faces to be shown. So to me, that's cowardice. But lawlessness should never be tolerated. That's number one. And the other thing is that the look isn't good when you're out there waving a Mexican flag when you're supposed to be proud to be in this country. You came here for a reason, whether you're legal or not, if you're a legal immigrant or illegal. And I suspect a lot of people on the streets are both, are a blend of both, perhaps. But at the end of the day, waving a Mexican flag actually is hurting your cause, because it's causing most of the country to look at you like, okay, so are you really for Mexico or for the U.S.? And if Mexico, why don't you live there, right? But that's not the main gist of what I want to talk about. So there's two videos here that just caught my attention. One of them was a California state senator last week, Alex Padilla. He was a U.S. senator from California, Alex Padilla, Democrat. And when Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem was giving a press conference, he tried to break into the conference, and this was in California, I believe, and was trying to make a spectacle, right? So if you watch the video.
Guys, ready? And sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked or
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here.
I do not know.
There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right? For the building.
For what, I'm sorry?
There's no recording allowed out here.
That's my boss. I have to
There's no
record
recording
everything
allowed
for
out
us.
here. You can record. There's no recording allowed out here.
I'm not a member
There's
of
no
this.
recording allowed.
I understand that, sir, but
He's not a senator that's trying to establish decorum or try to coordinate with the Homeland Secretary and her team before the press conference. No, he wanted to make a statement. He wanted the cameras, and he blew it as far as I'm concerned, right? I think that It's stupid the way he approached it. Yeah, he got a lot of news coverage, but does it help the cause? No. Whatever points you're trying to get across, it didn't work. He'd have done better just being able to figure out a forum with the Homeland Security Secretary to talk about that, right? And actually, Secretary Noem actually met with him after he'd been arrested for a little bit of time, which I think was great on her part. So I want you to keep that in mind in terms of when you watch the video. Are those the actions of a statesman? Are those the actions of somebody that's serious, or somebody that's just trying to get video coverage, and some clicks on social media?
Mel Gibson now speaking out on the leadership in his home state.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded upon and promises to offer. That's all.
The other one is Mel Gibson, who was recently interviewed about his thoughts on what's going on in Los Angeles. He lives there, and obviously has a vested interest. As you can see from the video, you'll hear, you may remember during the wildfires last year in California, or early this year, time just goes by so fast, that he lost his home along with a lot of other people. But his point is that both, whether it's Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, or Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles, that they're incompetent. And again, this does go back to leadership at a certain extent, because he makes some valid, very valid points. I mean, Mayor Bass goes on TV and talks about the fact that they don't need to have the National Guard there, that the local police can handle it. Well, that's obviously not the case. Local police, and LAPD is a great police department, but there's a lot to handle. And the press, a lot of the press is being very disingenuous when they say that these are mostly peaceful protests, when we can see for ourselves with our own eyes it isn't. Gavin Newsom, he's always been the kind of person he's always late to the party, right? Everything about him is for show, is all about politics. He's actually one of the most fake politicians I've ever seen in my life, and they're slow to act, right? And Mayor Bass showed how incompetent she was during the wildfires, right? And she's not a leader. And the point I'm trying to get across is two things. Number one, lawlessness is never acceptable. I don't care what you're fighting for, it's not acceptable. Not in our society. It should not be tolerated. It should be put down hard and fast by law enforcement. They should stop it. You have a lot of innocent people, shopkeepers and other people that are being affected negatively. I saw an article video the other day of shopkeepers having to board up their windows in their establishments because they're afraid of people coming in. And we've seen videos of people going into establishments like Apple stores, taking advantage of the situation, because there's always some knuckleheads that are going to do that. And so when you have a lawless environment, you not only you're breaking the law by attacking police, whether it's local, state, federal, whatever, you're also opening the door for other people, just plain criminals, to go and do their thing in the midst of the chaos. So you're not really helping anything. And the other thing I'm getting across is a lack of leadership. Don't be a showboat. Like Senator Padilla, actually try to do something substantive by, talking to the Trump administration, or talking to your or your colleagues who are Republicans in the Senate and try to figure out something, as opposed to trying to crash a news conference just so you can make headlines. That's not leadership. And in terms of people like Mel Gibson, he's got some valid points. The people who, if you vote for people like Gavin Newsom, you vote for people like Karen Bass, you get what you get. All right, you get a lack of leadership, you get a lot of excuses, but not a whole lot of real leadership, right? These times are tenuous. This is when real leadership should come into the fore, when you're making hard decisions and you're willing to cross lines. This past weekend, unfortunately, we found out in Minnesota, we had the situation where the state senator and her husband were shot and killed by this despicable guy. I think as of this today, as we're taping this on Monday, the 16th, that he's been captured, the assailant. But you talk about leadership. This state senator took a stance against her own party. It was a very divisive vote in the Minnesota state legislature about whether or not to extend health care benefits to illegal immigrants. And it was a very close vote, and she made the deciding vote against it. So she crossed party lines. And it took a lot of guts. Whether you agree with that or not, the idea of providing benefits to illegals, that's for another debate. She was courageous. She took a stance. She got killed for it, and so did her husband. My point is that was leadership, right? And as opposed to a Newsom, a Padilla, or Karen Bass, that would never do anything like that. There are very few people like the woman that was killed in Minnesota, or like people like John Fetterman, who actually has criticized his own party and has been willing to just be an independent voice, even though he's part of the Democratic Party. So leadership, obviously in today's environment, is risky, because if you're crossing your own party, especially on the left, you could die, and that's unfortunate. Hopefully this is a one-off and we're not going to see a lot of this. But we need true leadership, people that would speak truth, even if it's against their own party or people who believe in particular ideology. And violence is never, ever, ever acceptable. And if you believe that the people doing the rioting in Los Angeles have a right to do that, I'll say there's something wrong with you. I would never in a million years, no matter how mad I was about some political issue, I would never throw a brick at a cop. I would never try to hit a cop. I would never try to stop a police vehicle from, or try to destroy a police vehicle. I would never do that. I mean, who does that, right? People with no discipline, people with no honor, people with no courage, cowards who hide behind masks, like I said earlier in the video. Those are the people who do that, and they should be arrested, and they should be prosecuted, and I think they're going to be. So there's a way to properly protest in this country. Violence is never acceptable. What we need is true leadership, and we're seeing very little of that from the people that are supposedly managing the crisis in California. We need true leaders, and God bless the state senator and her husband who were killed in Minnesota. You should never have to fear being killed for making a vote or taking a political stance. And that's the problem with this country right now, is that whether you're on the left or your right, but in my opinion, a lot of the violence nowadays is coming more from the left. I've just got to say it like it is. It really is. It's not right-wing extremists. You're seeing more of the left being so intolerant about anything that there are certain elements, not always. There's a lot of great people on the left. I have a lot of great friends that are diametrically opposed to my political conservative beliefs, but we can debate and talk and have a great time, and then share a cocktail afterwards and a few laughs. But you have a sizable element now, especially on the left, that are very intolerant. And they are intolerant to the point where they actually hate anybody that's conservative or thinks again, opposes their political beliefs. And some subset of those elements are willing to go violent. There are also people on the right. And if the folks on the right, those who are also intolerant and don't want to listen to the folks on the left, I don't have time for them either. You have to open your minds and be open to all political thinking and debate and discourse. That's what Stoicism is about. That's what Christianity is about. And violence, if it comes from the right as well, should not be tolerated. So that's what I got for you here. I'd love to hear your comments about these two videos and what I had to say. Again, this is a little bit different slant than what I'm normally doing, but I've got things on my mind, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get them off my chest. So let me know what you think, and I'll be back at you soon.